Jonathan with Iron Mind Hypnosis. I want to talk about stress for a minute. Now, the academic research on stress goes back like 100 years. And in fact, some of the early work was actually sponsored by the tobacco companies and has, over the last century, done quite well for them in terms of uh, scaring people who are stressed out into being more stressed out about their stress and doing whatever people happen to see as a way out of that stress, even if that's a profoundly unhelpful behavior like smoking. Now, there, there are lots of ways out of stress, of course, and smoking is great for the stress of being in nicotine withdrawal, but it doesn't handle the underlying stress that exists in basically everyone's life. So it's important to know that though the stress uh, certainly can be very detrimental, it's not always detrimental. In fact, there are many ways that stress can actually make you better. Just like an athlete is stressed out on the field when they have to run or lift a thing or any of these things. There's stress. There's strain on their physical form. There's the tension to make things happen. All of that doesn't actually mean that they're worse off for going to the gym or participating in sports. We know that assuming there are no injuries, that turning up for athletics, turning up for the gym is good for both the body and the mind. In fact, it increases your mental power. So how can that be when it's actually stressful? Well, it has to do with whether you're choosing your own stress, and if there's anything you can do to manage that yourself. Now, all the classic studies that say stress is bad for you, those typically, not all, but typically, those studies are basically performed by torturing animals with no choice in the matter. There is no purpose for these animals in this. That is exactly the kind of stress which is not healthy for anyone. And discovering that it's not healthy for bunny rabbits, lab rats, kitty cats is not shocking. It shouldn't be shocking. But extrapolating that to other situations, which can get the overarching term stress, well, that's maybe not fair. Deciding that going for a run is the same thing as being tortured, they're not. They really aren't. And it's fantastically unfair to use the same word for both experiences. Now, I understand that for some of us, the idea of going for a run, well, quite frankly, the only way you would do it is if torture was the alternative. I get that. There are lots of ways to be physical, lots of ways to experience helpful stress, where your response is not not merely the fight or flight, but the challenge response of stepping up to a challenge, which is often sports. Or it could be the connection response to stress, which is where you're experiencing stress or you're seeing stress in people you care about, and you do something nice for them. Or you reach out, you talk to them even. These are all the lesser known stress responses. And they actually make us stronger. Where the commonly known stress response certainly has the adrenal sort of thing, where yes, maybe that can help, but our body is not well off for that. The other responses, the challenge response, where we rise up, actually comes with hormones that help our body make that a longer term thing, help us perform at our best. Same goes for when connection is our response to stress. Is our body also produces things that protect us from those toxic stress hormones and actually make the stress a positive thing in our lives. Now, why this is important is because most of us do not have the luxury of living our life, living what we want to do, taking care of the people we want to take care of, and just turning off stress. For most of us, that's not an option. Most people, they see their life and are told that they should do less stress, and they look around and there's no way to take care of their children, continue to be employed, put food on the table, be responsible members of society, take care of their parents, proceed with their education. There's no way to live your life if you're just going to run away from stress. In fact, shrinking away from stressful situations actually is about the most stressful thing you can do. To always flee stress means you have to be constantly vigilant for situations that might possibly create stress, which is pretty stressful. So it's much more useful to know that you can live your life. And if you are connected to why you are in a situation, why you are working hard at a thing, why your studies are important, why your job is important, either to you or to the people you serve, or your family. If you connect to these things, why you're doing a thing, it unlocks those protective hormones, those protective chemicals that your body creates naturally for you. And it makes it so much easier. Now, you might still be under just as much stress and time pressure and financial pressures as before, but you'll actually be better equipped to rise to those challenges, and your body and mind will be protected from the negative effects of that stress. That's kind of cool. Now, I understand that having a way to just wash the stress out of your system is pretty great too. Because from time to time, if you get just caught up in things, caught up in all the stress of let's face it, many of us live high stress lives. But if you get caught up in that, it's very easy to just let stress build on top of stress. And if you're not in a place where you've found a solution to make the stress turn it into a proper connection, or you've not found a good way to have a challenge response to the stressor, where it steps you up to your highest self, well, it's really nice to be able to wash that away. That's a thing that hypnosis is good for. But I just wanted to talk to you about stress, because if you know why you're doing a thing, if you know why it's worth it to you to continue with your studies in school, to do your workout, to continue to deal with a difficult person, to continue to show up at work, to put in a hard day to to do this difficult thing, to make the repairs, do the cleaning, if you know why that's worth it to you, it no longer seems like real stress. Yes, the stress is basically still there, but the negative effects on your heart and your brain, not so much. You get to remain healthy. You get this stuff done, and you have more energy for all the things that are later, which is great because honestly, you're trying to live a life that probably isn't going away just because it's stressful. Anyway, I hope this shines just a little some things that you can do to make your stressful life healthier. Take care.